Hi, everybody. So I'm going to do a quick video here where we talk about how to use the basics of PowerPoint. Um, the I know that probably most of you have used PowerPoint before to some extent, but then there might be some other things that you're still struggling with. So what I'm doing is recording my screen right now so that you can follow along, but then you should also have in your OneNote just a list of topics in the notes section called PowerPoint notes. And you can see there are 7 topics that I'm going to cover with some subtopics down here. You should add your own notes. These are just the topics that I need so that I remember, oh, I need to talk about this or that. But probably I'm going to go over some things that you're going to want to write down as well so that you don't have to rewatch this video every time that you need to remember how to do something. So go ahead and use that as I am showing you how to do these things. We'll start off by me just saying all PowerPoints should have more or fewer words than you're saying. So a PowerPoint is the presentation part is not meant to just be your script, right? It should have it should have ideas, it should have the structure of what you're going to talk about, probably images that go along with what you're going to talk about. But what you don't want is just to read off of the screen too much. Sometimes it's okay, but you want to be able to, um, you know, hold your viewers' attention, hopefully, without without having to put all the words up there. And it's much more interesting to look at an uncluttered PowerPoint. So I'm going to go ahead and start a blank presentation. Then we get our title page, and you guys can go ahead and pick your design, whatever design you want to use for this. I'll go with this design for our example, just because one that I don't use very often, and I think I'll use pink. Why not? And I will go ahead and title this Mr. Lassard is a nerd, and we'll give it a subtitle, example presentation, February 2021. That way, if you're watching this sometime in the future, you'll be able to laugh at how old it is. Maybe I'll have to remake it sometime in the future. So this is, whatever you want your title to be, it's just a good starting point. Now, from here, then we want to be able to use the Home tab. So the Home tab is where we find all of our different things. We're probably mostly familiar with these things. We'll come back to them from time to time, but let's say that I just want to change, I don't know, the font color. So I can go up here, I can highlight what I want to change, and maybe I want it to be purple instead of pink, and just basic things. We all know these little tricks, so I'm not going to spend too much time on it, but you can see it's fairly easy. They give you these nice color palettes so that your colors can all match. They kind of all match into the color scheme, so that's a nice thing. All right, so now that we've got our title page, maybe we want to go up to add a new slide, and we want to be able to pick the layout that's going to be most useful for us on the next slide. So you can see if we go up to new slides and drop down this menu, there's all these different options. And let's just say that for my next slide, I want a comparison slide. So I'm going to compare, um, uh, old Mr. Lassard versus new Mr. Lassard. I don't know. We'll come up with something to say about that, or I'll come up with something to say about that. So, and then I'll give these some subtitles: the kid and the man. Haha. It's funny to me that I'm a man. So as a kid, we can say that I liked, we can talk about nerdy things that I liked. So I liked classical music, and I liked books, and I liked X-Men, and I liked, I don't know, Disney movies, and that's probably good. As a man, now I like science. I still like classical music, um, but my musical taste has broadened out, and I like now um, uh, let's see what's something nerdy that I still listen to. Nintendo soundtracks, like the old Nintendo soundtracks. All of this is true stuff, by the way, but it's obviously oversimplified. I now like Batman, but still X-Men, right? I could, oops, I want that to be capitalized. And now I like Marvel movies. Let's just say that. Now all of these are things that I can expand upon, right? Like I could talk more about this. I could talk about all the different classical music things, that the pieces that I liked and the books that I read, and why I liked the X-Men and what I liked about Disney movies. And now I can talk about why I like science and how my music tastes. You get the idea. So these are just topics that I can expand upon. And then maybe I want one more slide, but maybe this time I want one that includes the spot for an image, so content with a caption. Um, uh, a nerd, oops, in different clothes. So, and then I'll make the caption say, despite changes in content, nerdiness still exists. We'll just talk about that. And you know what? I kind of want to go and I want to make this like centered, and I kind of want to blow it up a little bit because it just looks better. This actually probably should also be centered, and I'll probably bold it and blow that up a little bit too. And why don't we just change the color just because? Let's now. So, okay, and I could talk about all about this and that, but I also can use this here. So this particular slide format allows me to add content pretty easily here. So let's say I want to add a picture. Let's see if I can find a quick picture really quick. So I know where I keep all of my pictures. I think I've got one in here somewhere. Well, maybe not. Oh, here's one. Oh, there we go. Yeah. There's a nice one for you. And I'll give it a nice kind of, we'll talk about these in a little while. So that's our home page. We've gone, our home tab allows us to add different types of slides and add content, and we could go through, make as many as you want. The next thing that I want to do is I want to do the insert tab. So the insert tab is going to allow me to add some things to these slides. So we'll click over here to the insert tab, and let's say that I want to add let's say that I want to add a picture to this slide. So just to kind of add some interest, I can go to insert and pictures. So I want to insert a picture that I've already got on this device because why not? And let's just add a Batman picture. Got lots of Batman pictures. I'll just pick the one that I think I want, and I'll open it up, and bang, there's my Batman picture. Now, obviously, it's way too big, so I can make it a little bit smaller, and I'll put it over here. It's not amazing, but what we can do. And now I just want to adjust it a little bit. So if I make sure that I'm over here on the picture format side, then okay, fine. Picture format. I want to add a border, so I can maybe I want this border here. And maybe I want to add an effect, like maybe I want to have it glow orange a little bit or something like that. So I can, have these just kind of different options. Now, maybe I want to add one more picture. So I'm going to go back over to the insert slide here, and I'm going to get another picture. Let's do X-Men since I did Batman before. So X-Men, let's do X-Men Teamwork. Should we do that? Open that up. Oh, yep, there we go. So there we go. It's still a little big, so I'll go ahead and adjust the size a little bit. That's probably too small for a good PowerPoint, but you get the idea. I'll go back over here to picture format, and I'll pick a different border. Let's do that one. Maybe I want to have another effect, like maybe I want it to have a shadow. Maybe I want like that shadow down there. So there's all these different options that we can do. So we'll go back over here to the insert tab, and you can also insert tables. So maybe on this slide, I want to insert a table that's like a chart, right? So I want just a table that's, I don't know, let's say 1 by 4. Maybe, I don't know what's going to go in this table, but, let's say we want this age and uh, I don't know, age and friends. I don't know what would I include on a table on the cover page, and color, favorite colors. I don't know, and favorite color, and I don't know, books, favorite books. And let's say I'm going to talk about when I was 12 and when I was 30. And when I was 12, my best friend was Eric. And when I was 30, my best friend was Nolan. And when I was 12, my favorite color was, I don't know, green. And when I was 30, my favorite color was orange. And when I was 12, my favorite book was The Secret of Nim. Actually, that's probably a little bit young, but whatever. And when I was 30, my favorite book was Wicked. I don't know, probably something like that. So I can add these tables and, just for whatever reason that this table exists. Why does this table exist on my title slide? Because it's just an example, but there you go. So, so sometimes you might find having a table useful. You've probably seen me use tables before. But maybe I decide, oops, I don't want this table on this slide. I actually want it on my other slide. So I can highlight it, right click, and I can cut it from this slide and go ahead and put it on my last slide. And I'll just paste it there. Oops, it's covering up my picture, so I'll resize it just a little bit. Oh, this slide is looking kind of good now, isn't it? And I can do the same thing with tables. I can go to the table design tab, and maybe I want this table to be purple. So there we go, we've got the table. Now, the other thing that we can insert, if we go back to the insert tab, are shapes. These are what I use. So let's say that I don't want the table to show up completely at the beginning, like I want to be able to talk about it. So I actually want to create this rectangle here to cover up certain aspects. Let's just cover up this whole thing so that I can talk about what's going to be on the table before people actually see what's in the table. So I'm going to go ahead and create this shape, and then I'm going to go back up to and well cover up the stuff that I don't want people to see yet, and I'll create another rectangle, and I'll cover this one up as well. So now it's covered. I can also type inside the slide. So I can say, are you excited to see? And won't this be interesting? And really, literally, you just click on the shape and you just type right in there. Now, how do you make it go away? Well, we'll talk about that in a few minutes, but for now, you can just see we could add another shape here. So maybe we want to insert another shape where there's got all these options, right? So maybe I like to use this particular shape here. So do this. I can tilt it just a little bit because that makes it a little bit more interesting. And I'll say, uh, um, what's this all about? You know, oh, I want to type in there. Okay, let's make it a little bigger so it kind of fits a little bit nicely. Let me go ahead and change the layout of this just a little bit. I can drop this down and you see I've got all these different options, and maybe I want this option here. So there we go, we've got that. All right, so that's how to use the insert tab to insert pictures and tables and shapes. Obviously there are other things up here. You can play around with those, but I think those are the most useful. We move on to transitions since we've got multiple slides, and um, I want a nice transition between slides. So let's go ahead and we'll just choose a transition between slides. So we pick this, and this is how the slide shows up. So maybe I want this split transition. Ooh, isn't that nice? Okay, so that's applied to the first one. I've got to apply it to all of my slides though. So just for the sake of everything being the same, I'm going to go ahead and use the same transition each time. But maybe you want to choose from all the different transitions. There's all these different options that you can pick from. So go ahead and pick the ones that are appropriate to you. But remember, you've got to do it to each slide. So I've done it for each slide there. And that's really all you need to know about transitions. The bigger one maybe is animations. So that is how we decide when things come up. And the really useful thing about animations and deciding when things come up is that you can withhold information. Like maybe I don't want you to see this shape until I actually get there. So I'm going to go ahead and highlight this, and I'm going to say, all right, when I'm ready for that shape to come up, then I want it to wipe in. And so now it's wiped in, but of course you can pick from all these. These are all entrance shapes, so that means that it will appear when you click. Now I can go here, and maybe I want all of these to come up at their own times, right? So like I can highlight here, I want this one to fade in first, and then I want this one to fade in, and then I want this one to fade in, and then I want this one to fade in. And then same, it's, just go and, just select them in order. And so I know every time that happens, or every time that I click, then the new one will fade in. All right, and then probably I want the pictures to fly in. So let's go ahead and do that. So I've got my animations in there. Now that's all entrances. Maybe actually, you know what? I don't want these pictures to fly in. Maybe I just want them to be emphasized. So emphasized just means that like there's gonna be this little emphasis. So maybe I want it to pulse instead. So, and you'll see what I mean in just a second. So we'll, instead of having a fly in, let's go ahead and do a pulse. We'll have another pulse for Batman there. All right, and then this final one, now I want, instead of these flying in, I actually want those boxes to disappear. So I want them to exit. I'm gonna go ahead and click fade for that. And that means it'll go away and it will reveal what's underneath my little chart, what's on my chart. So I'm gonna go ahead and do that. And that means that those boxes will now disappear from from the page when I click. Now that's all well and good. However, sometimes you've got like, let's say you've got something else that you want to happen, or you've got multiple layers of things. So like maybe you want, for this slide, maybe you want to like cover up, I don't know, maybe we want to cover up this word or this phrase with this badge. But depending on when you put them in, they're going to be either on top of or below. So like what can happen is sometimes the badge will actually be on the wrong level. So I'll show you. If I send this all the way back, oops, now it's behind the words. Well, how do I get it in front of the words? How do I get it to cover the thing that I want? Well, you can use these bring to front, or bring forward, or send to back, or send backward. And that will layer them so that you can make things appear on top of each other. So I'll bring this back to front this way, and I'm actually going to move it back. But here's another one, right? Like if these were below, you want them to be on top of the, below the table, you want it to be on top of the table. So I'll show you, move this just a tiny bit, and I'll show you send backwards. Oops, now it's behind the table. We don't want that, so I can undo that. So sometimes you have to use layering to get everything to work out just the way that you want. The other thing that you want is to know is how to use the animation pane. So I'll show you what I mean there. The animation pane, if we click this, shows us the order that all the animations are going to come up. Well, actually, you know what? I want picture number 9, the picture to come up with the X-Men, or I want that emphasis to happen when I talk about the X-Men. So I can move that animation there, and then I can also move this Batman picture animation up here. And you can see the order of the animations over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so I want 4 to happen after 3. I want 9 to happen after 8. So I know that those are coming up in the right order. And you use the animation pane to do that, to make sure that everything's animated in the right order. All right. So the next thing that we want to be able to do is maybe we just want to test it real quick. So we can actually go to slideshow and click from the beginning. And if we run through it, we can see, oh, look, it's all happening. Oh, look, isn't that great? When we talk, blah, blah, blah. Oh, my animation didn't work for the X-Men one. That's okay. But it should work for the Batman one. There it goes. All right. So you can see that it worked. And then we'll go to the last one, and then that disappears and that disappears. Oh, good. It's all working the way that I want. Great. All right. So the last thing that I might want to do then is I might want to include my script that I've written so that when I present it, then I can do this script thing. So if you just click down here to notes, you can actually copy paste or type in your script for the entire thing. So I can say, this is my script. Here is what I'll say on this slide, period. And I can do that for all of them. Let's just say that I want to say the same thing on every slide. So I'll just copy this here and I'll add it on this slide. Oops. Add my little notes here, paste that there, and I'll paste that there as well. Now, obviously, you're going to want to have your actual script in there if this is what you're using. And you can, sorry, I get to hear my phone ring. And you can do that for your whole slide. Now, with all of that said, you're probably ready to record and turn it into a video. Let's just imagine this is complete. So the way that you do this is you use the slideshow tab and you go up to record slideshow. And I'm just going to say I want to record from the beginning. And it should take me to this. And when you're ready to record the slideshow, then you just click the record button. And you can find your notes up here. Oh, there are my notes. So you can remember that there's your notes, and we'll go ahead and hit the record button. It'll count you down from 3, 2, 1, and now it's recording. So I can just read my script, and when it's time for me, then I'll have the animation come up. None of this extra stuff will show up on the recording. So that's nice. It's just this stuff in this box that we're talking about. So here goes all of this stuff. I can still see my script. I'll go on to the last page, and then I'll wrap it up. Once it's wrapped up, it'll take you to this slide, and you can click to exit. Now you can see that you've got this nice little recording thing down here, and that indicates that you've got it all. You've got it all. You probably should play it just to make sure. I'm not going to play this right now, but what you can do is, oh shoot, I messed up on the first slide. You can clear the narration from the slide, clear the timing from the slide, and re-record that slide if you want to without deleting the other slides. Or you can start all over by clearing everything, clear timings and clearing narrations on all the slides and starting all over if that's what you want to do. But let's say, okay, I'm done. This is great. I'm happy. The last thing that we want to do now is turn it into a video. So the way that we do that is we go to the File tab here, and we want to go down to Export, and we want to click Create Video. Now, you can choose how you want to save it, but I usually choose standard, just like this is my standard. It's, not super high definition, but it saves some memory space. And once I've done that, you don't need to mess with this at all. Then you can go to Create Video, and it will ask you where you want to save it. I recommend saving it to your desktop. Just you can put it somewhere else later, but I'm just going to put it on the desktop for now so that I can find it real easy. I'm going to title this example slideshow, and it should say MP4 there. So that means it's saving as a video, and I'll click Save. And you can see down here that it's exporting. Now, the longer it is, the longer it's going to take to export, obviously. So this one will go pretty fast because it's pretty short. But you can see, okay, it's done, and I should be able now to go to there it is, on my desktop, example slideshow. I can open it up, and I can see there's the video. I'm just going to go ahead and pause it. It's only 25 seconds. And you can see it's been turned into a video. From there, you can save it to where you want. You can upload it to YouTube. You can upload it to Canvas if you need to. All of that stuff is right there for you. And that's how you get the basics of PowerPoint. So all the basics of PowerPoint that you need to know should be there. Hopefully you were able to follow along. You can rewatch this video. Hopefully you've been taking some notes, and I would be happy to expand on any of these ideas in further depth if you want me to, but this video should help you quite a bit. All right, I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing, and that's it.